Getting ready to get started. I want to introduce everyone to Alex ZAMBEAUX. He's the head of key accounts for HiPay. And throughout the day, we've been hearing a lot about consumers' behavior when we were talking about the American or US-based audience. He's going to bring a bit of a change to it, which I think is more interesting, to talk and better understand online paying and gamers' motivations to purchase in the European market. So, Alex, over to you.
Thank you. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Thank you for being here. So, my name is Alex. I work for HiPay. We're an online payment company. We're headquartered in Paris. We've been here for over 10 years. We actually created the whole microtransactions market in Europe. And what we did last year, we had a survey with some gamers who were really specialized in online games, PC games, etc. And we really wanted to have a lot of discussion with them about their purchasing behaviors, what motivated them to pay in free-to-play games and online games, so that we could share these insights with most of our game developers, publishers, some of them who were transitioning from retail to online games. And we wanted to help them identify the right pricing for each items, how gamers were going to pay in every country. And we wanted to have a really good study for them to share. So how we did this study, we worked with SuperData. As most of you know, SuperData does a lot of studies throughout the years, specialized in games. And we did this study last year, really focusing on France, Spain, Germany, and the UK. We had around 1,500 qualified respondents. It was really dedicated to free-to-play online gamers who had made a purchase in the past 2 months. So we really wanted to have people who were active gamers and who had recently paid in an online game. So just to be clear, we're really talking about PC games, not at all mobile, not at all consoles, even though there are free-to-play games now on consoles. We really don't touch that scope right now with our payment solutions, so we really focused on PC gamers. So it's a big survey. We're just going to share a few of the insights that we had to share today, but if you want more information about all the other data that we have, we'll be more happy to share the survey with you later. So a few demographics, a few information from what we found. There weren't a lot of big differences in the paying gamers profile in terms of male and female. In terms of age, it really went mostly from 19 to 45 years old, generally in Europe. And in the UK, it was a bit different. We had a lot more users who were actually above 46 years old. It was around 27%. And then we asked them what kind of games they played for online games, if they were playing social games, MMORPG, sports game, casual games, etc. And a lot of them actually, they play social games, they play MMORPGs, casual games. And we had a bit of a surprise when we saw the sports games category. There are some online football managers, etc. But at the time when we did the survey, there was a game in France called Virtual Regatta. It's like a sailing boat game. And it's always linked to a real world event when there's a sailing race in the world. And the survey was done at the time when this game was updated and released, so there was a lot more users at that time that were playing these sports games. But it gives you a basic idea of the kind of games that are played online in Europe. So when we focus to the purchasing motivations for these players, we asked them exactly why they actually made a purchase in the past 2 months. Why did they want to pay for something in the game? And the main motivation was really that they want to have a competitive advantage in their game. Either it was an MMORPG, they wanted a bigger sword, a better armor, they wanted to progress faster when they were building their city. Competitive advantage was really the #1 motivation. When you look at other kind of games, extending the game session was also very important for them. We'll look at that a bit later. Sales promotion was also very important. It's something that you really should not neglect if you want to motivate your players to make a purchase, even a first purchase. And we'll see how different countries reacted to sales and promotion as well. Boosting your score, having additional content if you want to access a specific dungeon, if you want to access a specific tank, for example. This is all additional content, and it really helps also boost your initial sales. Progressing faster, XP boosts, etc. That's also very convenient in free-to-play games, where players, they just want to progress really faster in the leveling up of their character, and then they want to reach all the high-end content. So it's something that you really also should propose in your online shop. Avatar appearance is still somewhat relevant. But what was surprising for us was that anything that had to do with teamwork and communication wasn't really much of a big factor in their purchasing motivation. So if you look at casual games like Candy Crush or Criminal Case, 33% of the paying users really wanted to pay to extend their gaming session. That was one of the main factors around it. It's how the monetization is mostly done also on these games. So it's something really that you really should not forget to do if you're planning to do a casual game like this. And, you know, on Candy Crush, you do 5 lives, then either you wait or you have your friends help you, but you know, the incentive to pay just 99 cents is so strong that it's really a big booster for revenues for them. Same with Criminal Case, you lose out your energy, you can't do any more actions. Either you wait a little bit or you just top up and buy more energy boost. If you look at MMOs, 35% of your paying users will want to pay for a competitive advantage. So like we said, having, you know, a bigger sword, better armor, better spells, either for PvP or for PvE or raiding with your friends, etc. You always want to have, you know, the top advantage in these kind of games where you can be competitive against other players or against the actual computer. So it's very important to also have these kind of advantages for your MMO games. And as we said before, you know, users really don't want to pay for something that they're going to share with others. Everybody's pretty much selfish when it comes down to payments in online games. So anything that had to do with teamwork, communication, it really wasn't one of the motivation factors for a lot of our users. What we found out was a funny point is that in Germany, one of the main incentives to buy was actually promotion and sales. Historically, you have some very big German free-to-play gaming companies that do a lot of promotions. Sometimes it's always also on the same time, on the same date. It's a regular schedule when they're going to do promotions. So a lot of the German users are used to these promotions, and they're waiting for the promotion to actually make the purchase. So it was one of the big motivations for them. You have to kind of be careful with promotions and discounts as well, because if you do it all the time on a regular basis, you kind of have a risk of having players waiting for this promotion to happen unless they make a payment. So you have to be careful and find the right balance, the right equilibrium with this. Now, if you look at when actually users start to make a payment depending on the different kind of games, you see that in casual games, for example, a lot of the users will make a first payment within the first day. If you look at the other genres like MMORPGs, social, sports, it's much lower. But generally, all these online games, 50% of your players will make a purchase in the first couple of days. So that's why it's very important, really, not to hide your shop, your premium features, showing them in the tutorial where they can actually go and spend money, why they would spend money, what benefits it's going to bring them inside the game. It's something that's, you know, always part of the tutorial games now. It's really something not to neglect. I know a lot of game developers, they think about monetization as something kind of evil, and they don't really want to show it too much to the players. But you really have to show it to the players. Now they're used to it, they want to know where they can buy things, and it's really something you should not be hiding. Now, if you look at the different payment methods, credit card is going to be the payment method that everybody's going to use at some point. It's where most of your revenues will be coming from, obviously. But when you actually ask the gamers what they prefer to use, 2/3 really prefer to use alternative payment methods, such as mobile payments, e-wallets, prepaid cards, IVR, direct billing, etc. So you really have to make sure that when you're setting up your online shop and you want to think about your monetization, you have all the different payment elements ready, as we've seen with the presentation from Payment Wall, for example. You have to cover the whole scope of different payment solutions. And if you look at the payment methods that gamers really try to avoid, credit card is also the #1. So people like to pay with credit cards, but they also try to avoid it as much as possible if they can, because of security reasons, because they don't think that they can stop their spending. You know, it's very easy to overspend with your credit card. Once you have the one-click payments, for example, if you go on iTunes, you start downloading a few apps, you know, in a few minutes you can maybe purchase 10 apps without even realizing it, and you'll never even open half of them. So you really have to make sure that you have the global spectrum of payment solutions to cater to everybody's needs. If you look at the choice criteria also across Europe of why people will choose a specific payment method, the #1 reason is because it's so easy to use for them. Either because they've made a credit card payment already and they just have to one-click to make the next payment, or because it's a mobile phone and they're very used to paying with their mobile phones, etc. So the fact that it's easy to use is very important as well. That it's also a fast payment process. As we've seen in the earlier presentations, the longer you wait, the longer the page loads, the longer process you have for payments. Every step that you add in the way is a risk of you losing some payers. And also the fact that it's a secure payment method, that they're not going to get hacked, that they're not going to overspend, is also very important for them to avoid. So all this really impacts your game design at some point. When you're thinking about what kind of game you're going to build, you have to think about what you're going to be selling in the game, what kind of motivations you wanna entice, so that your players will actually start paying in your game. And all this should really be taken into account as early as possible in the game. A lot of times we see developers who come up with an online game, it's a great game, but their shops and their monetization is kind of thought at the end. And for us, it's always kind of something we try to focus on, telling them, let us know what you plan to do with the shop so we can help you. You want to focus on X and Y country, while these are the right payment methods that you need to have. Also, this is something that works in other games, this is something that doesn't work. And as much as you can do it early on in the process, the easier it is when the game actually releases. So today, games tend to be more and more immersive. This is actually, I think, a screenshot from the virtual regatta game, the famous sailing game I was mentioning earlier. And we thought, okay, what could we do as a payment company to also try to make payments more immersive, in the sense that the payment process, as you'll see, is always kind of a way for you to get out of the game. So if you grew up in the 80s and 90s like myself, you probably remember this kind of thing when you were going to an arcade game. You lost your 3 lives, and the actual solution was either it was game over, or you would reach in your pocket for a few extra coins and pay, and you would continue. Today, everybody, I think we missed a slide. Okay, it's all right. Today, if you look at a game, for example, like Battlestar Galactica, but I could have chosen some other game, there's not necessarily the full online shop experience within the game. Some other games, they actually do this, but it's pretty rare. So let's say you're playing Battlestar Galactica, you're in the middle of a battle, you want to destroy this big ship, but you forgot to buy the super shield, and you don't have the biggest laser towers, etc. You're like, oh, what can I do before I actually go back into the battle and start playing? The general process for most online games is you have to get out of your game session, if it's a web browser game or a client-based. You go to the game shop, you browse the shop, you find the item that you want to buy, either some virtual currency or directly the item that you want to buy. Then you have to make the payment. That can be a few extra steps as well. You make the payment, you get the item, and then you go back into the game. But if you do that and you're in the middle of a battle, if you're switching screens, etc., it could be really too late. And everybody today has a mobile phone with them. I mean, I've seen you all taking pictures. Everybody has a mobile phone in their pocket or in their jackets. And we thought, okay, what could we do to actually try to make payments a bit more seamless, a bit easier for gamers, and not necessarily have to go and connect on the website and make their payments? So we're introducing this gamer app. What it is, basically, it's a web app. So for those of you who don't know what a web app is, it's not an application that you download from the iStore or from Google Store. It's more like a direct link to a browser page. And when you do the web app on your iPhone, it actually looks like an app. So you just click on the app, and it will open your browser on the right specific page. We work with publishers on their web services just for the login parts, so that the user actually uses his own login, his own password for his Big Point game, for example, for his Ubisoft game. It's the same one that he uses. And then it's up to the publisher to really push what kind of packages he wants to sell to the user. Either it's going to be some virtual currency item or directly a sword if you're able to see spending patterns. You want to push certain promotions to the user. It's completely up to you what you want to push to the user. And the payment is done through mobile payments or credit card solutions behind it. But basically, it really helps you to tell to the players, you can still play your game, and you don't have to exit the game to actually make a payment. So it's a tool that we've been developing for the past 2 or 3 months. We're testing it with a few publishers, and the results are pretty cool, because gamers actually like to be immersed in their game, as we said, and the fact that they can make easier payments with their mobile phone is always a plus for our publishers. So thank you for your time. If you want some more information regarding the Gamer app or the survey that we did, please send me an email, and if we have some time for some questions, I'll be happy to try to answer.
Questions? Oh, it's not that late in the afternoon yet. There's got to be some questions. No? Have you ever studied outside of the European markets, or does your business touch different places outside of Europe? I know this was more Europe focused.
Yeah, we try to focus on Europe, which is pretty much the heart of our business. We focus a lot on Latin America, South America as well. We cover like 80 countries with all our different payment solutions, but yeah, for this study, we really focused on Europe. Maybe we'll do an update with other regions sometime this year.
Have you noticed any extreme differences between Europe and South America besides for their locations?
Yeah, in terms of payment solutions, it's very different.
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of credit card usage in South and Latin America. A lot of mobile payments, like everybody has one or two cell phones in Latin America if you've been there. Everybody uses prepaid cards so they can switch from one operator to the next. So it's very, very different in terms of how they pay. There's also a lot of cash payments, like boleto bancário in Brazil. And users actually have to go to a shop and print a little receipt, pay cash there. But it's pretty common for them. They're pretty used to it. If you tell this to our European users, they think they're crazy, but that's how things work in Latin America. So it's very different markets as well in terms of how you monetize them. And you need to have the right payment solutions to make sure that you're going to monetize everybody properly.
And beyond the app idea or the web services app is there any other initiatives that you have underway to try to ease that payment process a bit more?
We're thinking always with developers what kind of things they need. So this was one of an idea that we pushed to developers directly. But some developers want some streamless mobile payments as well, because now we have direct carrier billing, where you still have to put your phone number on the website and then you receive a PIN and you validate the payment like this. We're coming up with different solutions to make mobile payments a bit easier as well, so that it feels almost like a one-click payment solution.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.